Hello folks, Everchanger here, and welcome back to more Pokemon Blaze Black 2. Last time we did our best to finish exploring Route 4, but it was just a little too big for us to handle, so the episode ran a little bit long, and we didn't actually finish exploring Route 4. So, in this episode, we are going to try our best to finish exploring Route 4, because this route's actually quite large. I forgot just how big it was. Although, looking at it, I think these are actually the last trainers on the route. I don't regret ending last episode where I did though, because this battle is probably going to take a decent amount of time, and that one was already about a half hour, which is pretty much my upper limit, unless bad stuff happens like in the Berg episode, or I just want to get a whole ton of stuff done. But honestly, I don't have time to make episodes that long, so yeah, please understand. Also, I'm remembering my Houndoom is out, and it is not the best one to have out at the moment because it is currently poisoned. I might have to make a quick, albeit probably off-screen, run back to Castelia to heal before we go onwards. Ah well. No big deal, and wow, I forgot just how much Poison Tail does. That did a lot. Yeah, running back to heal after this might be a good idea. Alright, I'm gonna bring out Victini. That's kind of the awkward thing about tracking every Pokemon we see in the end slides of the series. It's the problem that basically I can't cut out any fights where I don't know what I'm going to be fighting, because otherwise a Pokemon might get registered in my Pokedex that the viewers don't actually see. It's just a little bit of an awkward thing, but I guess if I'm just running back to heal, it'll be okay. Alrighty. That actually didn't take that long. I probably could have fought them at the end of the last episode. Oh well. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and get back to safe ground, because there's quite a bit of wild Pokemon dirt that I can encounter around here. Oh wow, a Cacnea. Interesting. Cacnea is yet another Pokemon we don't have, and I'm not sure if we've actually seen this one yet at all. Now, can it take a bite? It cannot. That's unfortunate. Oh well. There's more where that came from. Alright. Let's just head right on back through here. And I believe there are some more trainers beyond here. Well, actually, isn't there a safe house over here? I could swear there was. Is this a safe house? I'm pretty sure it is. Yes, it is. Awesome. So I don't even have to run back to Castelia, which is probably good because we spent so freaking long in Castelia. Really just like to move on. Do you fight me or not? The relic castle is being buried in sand. Someday, memories of it may be buried too. Very interesting. Anyway, right here. Probably the only highway you will ever see in a Pokemon game. It runs right through the Unova region, which is pretty interesting. I was kind of hoping that the highway would be like some form of fast travel in the game, back when they were teasing stuff for Black and White, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. Anyway, as you can see, we have entered a new area called the Desert Resort. Now, there is a Pokemon here that I really want to get, because it was by request. However, I'm not entirely sure if I'll be able to find it in a timely manner. However, as you can see, there are many other Pokemon here in this area that we can find. So, I'm going to do my best to try and catch as much as I can, and hopefully we'll run into the Pokemon I want. Unfortunately, the Pokemon I want can have one of two abilities, and there's one ability specifically that I want for it. Luckily, it's relatively easy to check for, but unfortunately, if we find the Pokemon I'm looking for and it doesn't have the ability I want, we're going to have to knock it out and try again, which is a little unfortunate. Anyway, we got this Sandshrew down pretty low, so let's try and see if we can catch it, getting another critical capture, which is awesome. And this time it actually worked, which is nice. I'm pretty sure the last time we got one of those, it actually failed, which is unfortunate. It digs deep burrows to live in. When in danger, it rolls up its body to withstand attacks. I feel like Sandshrew is one of the fan favorites of this series, although I have a feeling part of that is just simply because it was introduced in Generation 1. Not trying to start anything, it's just what I've observed. Aha! This is the Pokemon I want. This is a Vullaby. My good friend Ryothelion requested that I use a Mandibuzz on my team, and this Pokemon actually evolves into that. Now, it can either have the ability Big Pecs or the ability Overcoat. If it takes damage from the Sandstorm after this turn, that means it has Big Pecs, and I want Big Pecs more than I want Overcoat. So let's see if we can get it here. Oh my god, I never realized there was a special version of Swagger. Wow. Now, unfortunately, Vullaby did not take damage from the Sandstorm right there, which means it has Overcoat. What Overcoat does is it basically nullifies weather damage. So, since it didn't take damage from the Sandstorm, we can tell that this Vullaby has Overcoat, which is not what I want, which means we are going to be knocking it out and trying to find another one. Unfortunately, that also means when we do find a Vullaby with Big Pecs, it'll be a little bit more difficult to catch simply because it will be taking damage from the Sandstorm every turn. So that'll be interesting. Luckily, just by empirical evidence right here, it looks like I'll be safe to use Return on this thing. I was a little bit nervous about that simply because Return can hit hard. Anyway, we brought down Vullaby. Now this is one thing I find incredibly strange. Why on earth is Vullaby not in this area in the original game? Vullaby is only in this area in the hack, and that makes absolutely no sense to me because it's a freaking vulture Pokemon. Why is it not encounterable in the desert? You see what's so weird about that, right? It seems so perfect to stick it in the desert, and yet they always put it on the last route of the game. It just seems so weird to me. Oh well. If I ever get a hold of Junichi Masuda, I'll be sure to ask him what's up with that, because it seems like a very obvious design choice that they sort of just completely ignored. Alright, let's bring down this Sandshrew right here. I'd really like to get a hold of a Vullaby as quick as possible, because I want to slap the experience share on that thing and start leveling it up, because levels are very valuable in this hack. I'm so glad I'm not playing challenge mode, because honestly, what we're playing right now is hard enough. Sheesh. Anyway, it looks like we have a Cacnea right here, which unfortunately we were not able to catch last time, so let's see if we can weaken it just a hair. Or not. That works too. Yeah, unfortunately Cacnea is pretty frail as a Pokemon, so yeah, might not be getting a hold of one on this pass through the desert. Unfortunately, it also looks like Vullaby is pretty rare in this area as well, which is really unfortunate because we found one super quickly, but it didn't have the ability I wanted. Because I'm sure you can probably see why I prefer Big Pecs over Overcoat, because Overcoat really doesn't have very many uses, whereas Big Pecs always has its uses, regardless. If anyone's wondering, Big Pecs, I believe, prevents you from having your defense being lowered, which is super nice. Regardless, no matter what, it's definitely better than Overcoat, because Overcoat is only useful in very, very specific situations. Aha, here's another one. Very nice. Now let's see here. I'm gonna be gentle with this thing, just in case that Sandstorm does a little bit more damage than I expect. Please have Big Pecs. Okay, it was buffeted by the Sandstorm, which means it has Big Pecs, which is what we want. Very nice. So I think I'm going to quick attack it one more time, and then I think we'll be good to start chucking Pokeballs at it. As you can probably guess, Vullaby is a Dark and Flying type, so it'll definitely be useful for later when we get a hold of the HM for Fly. And it also has a very good arsenal of Dark-type moves. Now what that means for Houndoom, not entirely sure. We're going to have to cross that bridge when we get there, I guess, although Even though they're both dark types, I feel like Vullaby and Houndoom are very different Pokemon, so they could probably both have a place on the team. Anyway, we caught Vullaby, which is awesome. As you can see, it is female, and Vullaby are always female. They do have a male counterpart, but we will be getting into that much later. Anyway, Vullaby, the diapered Pokemon. Their wings are too tiny to allow them to fly. They guard their posteriors with bones that were gathered by Mandibuzz. Now, Mandibuzz is a bit of an interesting Pokemon. I mentioned that it is always female. Go look up its Japanese name. Yeah. Anyway, now that we have done that, I think I'm going to run back to the Pokemon Center in Castelia City and heal and pick up our newfound party member. So, I will be right back. Alrighty, I am back from Castelia City with our newly found party member, so let's head into our party screen. I have removed the experience share from Houndoom and given it to Vullaby, and I deposited Nidorino and grabbed the amulet coin from him and gave it back to Servine. So, if we check out our Vullaby right here, as you can see it knows Pluck, Nasty Plot, Flatter, and Feint Attack, which is a decent amount of good moves, which is awesome. Ability is Big Pecs, which is exactly what I wanted, so now that it has the experience share, we should be able to get it decently up in level. I'm going to dequip the bicycle because that moves a little too fast for my liking in areas such as this. But anyway, Vullaby can only be found in this outer area right here of the Desert Resort. If you go deeper in, you actually can't find it, so it's actually a pretty difficult to locate Pokemon if you don't know exactly where you're going. The Desert Resort is vast, and the Pokemon here are strong. It's an ideal place to test your skills. Go through the gate and just head straight. That's how you get to the Relic Castle. Relic Castle was a very plot-relevant area in the original Black and White. Not so much anymore, but it's pretty interesting. It's got some lore implications in the series if anyone's curious about that. Anyway, it looks like we have a third chance at a Cacnea here, and I believe the same episodes. Let's try Quick Attack. This can't possibly KO it, right? Wow, even that did more than half. Yikes. Luckily, we should be able to... Oh, wait, what? Oh, right, I got Leech Seeded. Derp. Alright, we'll Quick Attack it once more in that case, and of course we miss, because... Of course we miss. Sheesh. So it looks like we gotta sit through these animations at the end of every single turn right here, which is a little frustrating. Interestingly, Cacnea is not taking Sandstorm damage. I wonder if it has an ability that nullifies that. Interesting. Anyway, we've got it decently weak here, so I think what we're gonna try and do is obviously catch it. Wow, that heals quite a bit. Or maybe it doesn't. Cacnea just has very little HP, which is probably the more likely scenario. Very nice, we caught it. Awesome. Alrighty. Get that data added to the Pokedex. By storing water in its body, this desert dweller can survive for 30 days without water. Pretty much just like a real cactus, which is pretty sweet. Alrighty, now this outer area right here of the Desert Resort, we're not done with it yet. Desert Resort ahead, it's nicer than the average desert. Sure, guy. Oh no, it actually is over, I'm thinking of something else. Okay, they kind of trick you, I guess, into thinking there's more beyond that way, but I guess there isn't. Anyway, heading on in here, the Relic Castle in the Desert Resort. You can tell just by looking at it that time has been cruel. I'm a school kid, and I'll tell you this. Just like in caves, you can run into Pokemon almost anywhere in the desert, but they don't like hiding in the pale sand, so if you walk there, you won't have to worry about battling. Very useful advice. Anyway, heading in here, it's very, very dreary music, we have the Desert Resort. First things first, before we do anything, we want to talk to this woman. I am a trainer before I'm a nurse. I am itching for a Pokemon battle. Even though this woman won't specifically seek you out to fight, you definitely want to talk to her and battle her anyway. It will be very useful if you plan on exploring this area in earnest. So, of course, that is what we are going to do. And of course we get frisked and we find the leftovers. Not that big of a deal though, because I think we're probably in a very good position to take out this Gothita, which is a psychic type, but doesn't really matter that much because it's already gone. Lullaby already getting experience, which is nice. Nice thing about Lucario is since it is part steel type, it is immune to sandstorm damage, so we're going to want to have it out as much as we can in this area, simply because we don't have to sit through it taking sandstorm damage every turn, which is super nice. Anyway, here we have a Bayleaf. Not sure if we've seen Bayleaf before. Probably the least liked of the grass starters, I would guess. I don't know. The years haven't been kind to the Johto trio of starters. I feel like they are really not that good when put up against the other starters of their type, which is very unfortunate and leads me to hope that they get Mega Evolutions in the future, just because they could really use them. And out we have Chansey. Chansey is a Pokemon you really want to knock out whenever you get the chance because they give a lot of experience. They're basically the Generation 1 equivalent of Audino. Like, watch this. 1,370 experience points. And we're like 4 levels higher than it. And Lullaby gets almost 2,000. That's insane. Are we gonna get 2 levels? No, we didn't, but I bet it was close. But yeah, definitely want to seek out big, bulky Pokemon like that for the experience. Anyway, the reason why I told you to seek this woman out is because once you defeat her, she acts like a heal point, which is super, super, super useful. Definitely nice. But yes, as you can see, the desert resort here is quite the big, dreary area. And I think what I want to do is I want to end this video off right here so we can explore pretty much the entire desert resort in its own separate part. I have a feeling this episode might be a little bit short, but considering the last one was about a half-hour long and the next one's probably going to be decently long, I think it's probably okay. So next time on Pokemon Blaze Black 2, we are going to be exploring the inner desert resort. So without further ado, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.